Hi folks, I'm Aleks U and you are awesome. And I got these gorgeous sunflowers. I'm gonna put here right next to us. Now, of course, as always, I have something that smells absolutely amazing because while I'm smelling and processing, the brain is processing that smell, the chatterbox, the ego has to stop. The brain must stop in order to process whatever you're smelling, and that puts you right in the present moment, which is where we all want and need to be at all times. In fact, we're always there anyways. Now, but anyways, the topic today is, why am I anxious all the time? 10 minutes on the clock here is ticking, and let's dive right into it. Now, anxiety and being anxious is a very common experience nowadays. It's in the medical world now. People get diagnosed with anxiety. It's a lot it's a lot more open, as in people talk about it and we can hear about it. Friends, families, could be ourselves too. So it is not a secret that it's a, I don't want to say it's a problem. It's a result of something, and we're going to talk about what that is here. And of course, because the topic here is always being present, and we're getting to the present moment, and talking about the ego, the answer to this question isn't different. Anxiety is a result of your ego. It's a side effect. It's an unavoidable side effect. In fact, I can go ahead and say that everybody experiencing anxiety. Many people to a lot smaller extent than others that are either being or taking medication or doing something to resolve their anxiety, that have acknowledged that they have it, and it's really affecting their lifestyle and life on daily basis. But everyone on this planet, regardless where they reside, nowadays experience some form of anxiety. And that's probably always been the case. As I said, now it's exacerbated by the fact that life seems to have a higher speed, especially in the bigger, more demanding cities. And of course, some cultures, it's more obvious, or it's almost accepted in some Western cultures, right? That anxiety is part of life. But in other cultures, like Asian cultures, for example, in Asia, and probably other parts of the world, it's not looked upon as something that's real. Even where I come from, until recently, if you say you have anxiety, they'll say, no, just be strong. You have a lot to be thankful for, and get motivated. That doesn't exist. Like, what does it mean? It's not real. Just get it out of your mind and get back on track. Now, it is a side effect and as a result of the way we live, the ego-driven way of life. But if we are trying to fix the result, right, or that side effect, it's never gonna work. It's always gonna be like a band-aid experience, and it's not gonna create a long-term solution. So let's look at how we can actually fix it. And by fixing it, I don't mean you are attacking it and trying to fix it. That never works, right? Whatever it is that we wanna actually, so to speak, fix in our life, it's never through attacking it or engaging with it head on, because that all typically, and we do that in our minds because we try to almost always resolve everything with more thought and through the mind. So that's always the opposite effect, because you've heard that what you resist persists. So it's the same thing here. We don't want to resist. If you feel if you experience anxiety, we don't want to resist that, because it's going to persist more. So here's how we're going to approach it. Number one, I have to realize that I have actually now made this a part of my personality, of my existence, of my I, right? I have anxiety. right? Like if I the moment I like first understand that it's something that I am experiencing and not that I am. So that's the number one thing, and it's very challenging, and especially in the moment when you are feeling anxious and you are experiencing anxiety, because in that moment it feels like nothing helps, right? It just gets worse and worse. The feeling, the chest pain, or the chest heaviness, I should say, and just the overall feeling of anxiety. So through those moments, when the storm is there, like we need to try to be as present as it's ground as possible, and it's gonna seem like it's hurting more and more and more. But the less when I have felt it in the past, and sometimes even now, when I experience it and feel it, I try to experience it as intensely present as I can, to stay with it, and try to not attach to it as much as I possibly can. Stay present with it, and knowing that it's gonna pass, and not giving it more power, not making it part of my story or of me, right? So the first thing that I do, and that's helped me in the past, is understanding that I'm experiencing this and it's not who I am, right? It's not even part of who I am. I am the experiencer beyond this, or below if you want, or behind this anxiety that I'm feeling right now. So it's I am, and feeling, putting it together, putting it separate, and not I am the anxiety. That helps me differentiate that there's a me, who I, at the being, that I can let go of anxiety. There's the potentiality of letting go, and moving on out of that experience as the being continues. And then when this moment is past, what I look at is with a self-reflection, a self-time, understand why is it happening. Not why as in let me go and find the details of what causes the anxiety, because I can fall into creating, recreating, or reimagining a story. Maybe it was real, maybe not. That was made even more colorful and more rich, so to speak, by the brain, to continue to give life to anxiety. So I don't want you to go into that story, but what is helpful is to try to understand, wait a minute, if I'm experiencing anxiety, is it maybe possible because we as beings, or as humans, let's say on this planet, we are living a life of a singularity, meaning from the moment we are brought up till today, the kind of drive is, even in the countries that are less egoistic and more social, still the drive is for you, for the I, to be, to become, to grow, to gain, to get better, to whatever. It's I, it's a separate I, right? So there's me, there's my family, there's my neighbors, my classmates, my co-workers, my whoever else, the society, the community at large. So the I that I have believed that I am, like for the longest time, it's a separate I that has to always defend itself, prove itself, compete, get better, watch out for others. So you can see that if you actually ponder for a moment and say, wait a minute, I have completely bought in the idea that I'm a separate self. How can I not have anxiety? There's so many things to watch out from, so many things to compete against, to get better or conquer or let not be conquered. Like I'm shocked that we don't experience even more anxiety, all of us, right? Because this is the result, what I was saying, of being identifying myself as an ego with the I, the small I. Is being anxious, stressed is inevitable, a side effect and result of living as an ego. But when I start realizing that those are experiences that are the result of the ego, and that I can let go and detach from the experience, but also most importantly, I can actually realize I'm not this broken, small little ego self that I've believed I was. Now this is a lot more challenging. Challenging as in, because it's such a strong feeling of identity that we've had this ego self, that letting go, it really feels like death almost. But the side effect of letting it go, it's you never experience anxiety or stress or worry, because you open up to being one with life, not against life, not against anyone. You understand that you are absolutely irreplaceable part of totality, because you are out of it and in it, not as a separate identity self. As that, you're just a story that is part of the show, right? Like it's you're participating in the show, so you still, it's part of the totality, but you're broken, experiencing yourself, okay, let's just say, as a broken, separated self, right? It's a almost like anomaly, right? The brain experiences itself as a separate self, and the result of this is a lot of feelings, but also a lot of negative feelings, one of the main ones is anxiety, as we talked about, stress, depression, worry, and so forth. We're past the 10 minutes here, but and that topic is obviously almost endless, but it comes to it's almost simple, and that is, you're a beautiful being, and anytime you experience yourself as a separate ego, and it doesn't matter how big your ego is, you could be a president or whatever, right? You're still gonna feel those feelings, because you experience yourself as separate to life, which is what you are. You're one with life, and you'll never be separate. You can only experience yourself as such, and anxiety will be an inseparable experience out of that. But the exciting thing is that you always be one with life, and you can always make the choice not to separate out of it. I'm Aleks U, and you're awesome as always. This was the 10 minutes of Mind Triumph Talk. Until next time, until then, less ego and a lot more joy.